What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I'm JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Happy Election Day, JJ Wang. What's more exciting than politics? Probably everything. How about fantasy football?
Definitely fantasy football. I'd rather spend my life talking about this than talking anything politics. Dreadful.
Yeah.
How's your day?
It's gonna be a good day. I got information. I get to telework today, so I was the listeners better be get lots of listeners because I was able to sleep in today, and the one day I can, and I'm not sleeping in, so that we can be out here and ready for our loyal listeners. So get on there, jump on. Also, check us some emails. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. If you got a moment, check out my Darth Vader Instagram post from Sunday. It was a fun little thing to do. I think it's also linked into Facebook and Twitter as well. Leave us some questions or comments on YouTube. Our friend EG on Instagram, I forgot to tell you, hit me up with some more questions on Sunday about like a DFS lineup and a couple of things. So
But he doesn't want my advice on a DFS lineup.
yeah, well, actually, the advice I gave him was fairly good. End up with being Daryl Henderson and so forth. So that was pretty good. So if you have any questions, every now and then we get it right. My Darth Vader questions were pretty close. Daniel Jones was a guy I put in there. He wasn't spectacular, but he was better than some of the other options you could have thrown
Yeah,
out there. And
I had a league where it was coming. I mean, it was a dead heat, and I had Daniel Jones, and he had Pat. The other guy had Patrick Mahomes. I was like, I am so going to lose. And Daniel Jones ended up outscoring him by like a half a point.
it was ridiculous,
I was
ridiculous
like,
stuff.
all right.
But yeah, so give us some questions, give us some comments. We'd love to hear from you. The fantasycouriers.wixsite.com/website. All the links are on the feed on the podcast or on the YouTube feed as well. And you can click on, and we're still looking for those 50 subscribers. Get us there. We would love to be able to have a big celebration for it. I believe you said you would dance if we ever got 50 subscribers. So
I mean, I don't think anybody really wants to see that,
but it would happen. And now that we're back to ourselves, no longer are we hulking out or um, hanging out in the jungle. We are ready for wrapping up of the week, getting ready for next week. And there's some. Yesterday, I was really devastated.
I'm sure he was.
I have a team, and it's probably one of the best in the league. I got some spectacular players, tight end premium. I pulled off some trades last week, and I upgraded from Kittle to Kelsey, so I was really excited. Then Kelsey pooped the bed. I traded away Mitchell as part of that deal, and Mitchell went absolutely bonkers yesterday. And then I get the news. Derrick Henry is having, well, the first news was Derrick Henry could be out forever. Then it luckily it got a little better. Derrick Henry having foot surgery out 6 to 8 weeks. In my brain, and a lot of people are saying probably 8 weeks, but I look at Derrick Henry, he played the entire game on it, probably 6 weeks, but that's got to be in reality. I mean, there's some other drops injuries here, but that's got to be the biggest injury of the week, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that guy was carrying fantasy teams. I mean, he's the reason a lot of people were in first or second place. But yeah, I did get to watch too much at the beginning of the first games, and I heard he was in the blue tent. I was like, I mean, I don't have Derrick Henry anywhere, so I don't like to cheer. I don't like to cheer for injuries, but I was playing against somebody that had him. I was like, all right, and then I turn around and he's back in. I was like, well, it figures. That guy's not going to get hurt. But the fact that he played that whole game on a broken foot, that's going to have him out, 6 to 10 weeks
Yeah, it's
is amazing. The fact that these people can play through injuries like this absolutely amazes me.
he's still going to end up, if he doesn't play again till probably the fantasy playoffs, he's still going to end up probably a top 15
RB1.
scorer. He, he has 225 points for me in that league. And I
Yeah.
have Zeke as my second running back, and he's got like 130 or something like that. Like it's ridiculous how far ahead of everybody he is because he had like that 50-point week, kind of like a 30 and 30, 30. He was quarterback scoring. He could have been a league MVP. And as far as high scoring, I have a league where you win money for the high scoring player, and he was in competition there with some of the running quarterbacks and Brady. But so it's my golly, what I was just heartbroken yesterday looking. I was like, I got Jeremy McNichols. I was like, okay. So basically that means Tannehill. So the results here would be like Tannehill gets upgraded, AJ Brown gets upgraded, maybe the tight ends, and Jeremy McNichols becomes a scat back monster.
I would say none of them guys get upgraded because I was watching the game yesterday and the Indianapolis Colts absolutely sold out to stop Derrick Henry. They were falling for every play fake, everything. They weren't worried about the passing game. Now with Derrick Henry out, what are you going to worry about? You're going to worry about the passing game. So I think that's going to make the passing game that much more complicated for Tannehill because they don't have because these teams aren't going to have to worry about their run game. They don't have to worry about Derrick Henry back there.
Well,
They don't have to focus on Nick was Nicholson or whatever his name is. I know they got AP coming in, but that play fake isn't going to work the same with those guys as it does with Derrick Henry, and those defenses just aren't going to sell out.
as we would like to say to Ryan Tannehill, welcome back to Miami, where everybody knows what you're going to do. I mean, I still think Tannehill's going to move the ball. I've always been a Tannehill fan. I'm like one of the three Dolphins fans who liked Tannehill. I was kind of disappointed to see him leave, and I was proven right with his results. So I think he's going to have the interceptions like he did this week, but I do think there's going to be an uptick for him. So if you have Tannehill, you're kind of excited. I mean, AJ Brown still went 10 for 155 and a touchdown. So I think that's going to continue. It'll
I
be
mean,
interesting to see what
watch.
AP
I'm
has.
telling you, watch some of those play actions, man. Those play actions that Tennessee was putting up, they had no care,
But the
no care about the passing game at all.
Colts are a top defense too. To have a top defense like that sell out and still be able to play like I don't know. I have faith in Tannehill that most don't, and I think if I was a Tannehill owner, I'd be kind of excited for the points he's going to put up, and they're well coached. I don't see the Titans dying because of Henry. I think it's going to be more disappointing for us fantasy owners. They're not going to have their basher. They're about to be more creative. And I'm curious to see what AP's gonna do. Like if he's gonna like I think McNichols he might get an uptick as a receiver. He said 3 for 33 last week, and I think that's gonna uptick based with the signing of AP. I don't think he's gonna catch a lot of balls. It'll be like Detroit last year, where he's gonna be like a warm body and just sort of ruin anybody's hopes that the young running back from Tennessee was going to step in. So it's disheartening for us owners. Luckily, I looked and I set my lineup for next week to see the score, and my team is not devastated. Like I'll still compete. I just gotta hope that he comes back sooner rather than later. That he is a cyborg.
Well, if your team is as strong as you say it is, I would hope minus one injury, it's not going to completely devastate your team, right?
When that team has the highest score in the league, highest points in the league by a landslide. And I'm also right up there in highest points against. So that team is so good, but I'm only 5-3. I was 4-3 going into this week because I just had a couple teams just put up points. I was a top three or four team one week and lost. And I think 2 weeks ago I was like 3 or 4 and they were 1 or 2. It was just crazy. I just run into some buzzsaws, but luckily the 6th seed in the playoffs, something encouraged for commissioners. I love that this does this. So the top 5 teams make the playoffs, but the 6th seed is the highest scoring team left in the league, which I think that's how I got into the playoffs last year. And I encourage leagues to do that because that does prevent that team from just being good and then just getting buzzsawed and gives them a chance. Because bad luck exists in fantasy, but that also rewards people for building a good team and just getting screwed over pretty good.
I mean, that is a good idea. I mean, it's not anything that I've done in the past, but I mean, like I say, that's a good idea. Make sure you get that high scoring team in the playoffs.
So probably the other biggest devastating injury is Jameis Winston. I also have him. Yeah, and actually, I'll put two of these together. So one of them's not as big. Kyler Murray went out Thursday, supposedly has a sprained ankle. I don't know what you've heard. If it's long term, they're sort of, it sounds like they're going day to day, kind of figuring out how bad it's going to be. So my quarterbacks were Kyler Murray, Jameis Winston, and Jalen Hurts. And Hurts looked just spectacular with his 125 yards and that thrashing. They put up 44, and he still only did like whenever the Eagles score a lot of points, Hurts looks like garbage. And when they don't score a lot of points, he puts up fantasy numbers, which is weird. So Murray It's high ankle sprain. We got, or it didn't say high. They just said ankle sprain. Got to monitor, and then Jameis Winston torn ACL. Oh
Yeah,
man,
luckily, I mean, honestly, luckily for I know Jameis going down is it hurts a little bit, but I don't think too many people were relying on Jameis
two
going down.
quarterback league. I
I
bet you
mean,
he
he
was
wasn't.
like,
I mean, yeah, I mean, in two quarterback. I mean, I feel like a two quarterback league. He was what quarterback 25.
he was within
I mean, he was. I mean,
his
every
stat
game.
wise with that 5 touchdown week. He was probably 18.
Well, all right. So we take away the 5 touchdown week. I know that you can't do that, but since then, what has he been? Quarterback 25. He
I
hasn't
don't
thrown
know.
but what 100, 200 yards, maybe in a touchdown, maybe a game, maybe. So I mean,
Well,
yeah, he's a quarterback too that you were playing, but I feel like he's probably replaceable. I don't think it would take too much to replace him. And as far as Murray, I know he's got the ankle injury. He'll probably play. He usually plays through these injuries. I haven't heard anything
well,
anything
luckily for
spectacular.
me, I moved on from Murray in that league. We did the draft, and I said I want Dak or I want Murray. And this dude and I were basically looking to rebuild. And he said, "Hey," I was like, "He's like, how about Dak for Murray?" I said, "I just can't do it because of Murray's age." He said, "How about Dak in a first for Murray?" He godfathered me. He gave me an offer I couldn't refuse because I didn't have any firsts in the next couple of years because I was stupid with some trades, and my team is bad, borderline terrible. It's worse than your terrible team, like which in that league shouldn't be happening. But so Kyler Murray, you're not on any of my teams, so I don't have to monitor that injury except for the podcast.
Yeah, two more here. We had James Robinson. He bruised his heel or something. I guess he ran into that big light thing on the sideline. He
Yeah.
ran into it, and that's where he got hurt. He didn't come back in after that. Hopefully, he'll get back in. He's the best player on that team. And then, of course, the other big news was Calvin Ridley. He just decided he doesn't want to play anymore for a while. So it's unfortunate. I guess he's got to take care of himself. But for us fantasy managers, I mean, it's a hit.
Yeah,
I guess
except
he's
those of
got it.
us that just traded away Calvin Ridley, it's not that bad of a hit. If it was like a whew.
Yeah, but
Now,
like
what do you like? So you have before we jump into our big segment of the day, so you have Calvin Ridley. We talked about this again we talked about it on the weekend podcast, but now it's totally different. Calvin Ridley could come back in 3 weeks. Calvin Ridley could come back in 3 years. So we know Ricky Williams stepped away to take care, do a personal habit, and then came back and just killed it. Calvin Ridley, so redraft first. Are you? What do you've got him? What are you doing with him? Is he going to be a roster burner?
I mean, you got to hold him. I mean, I don't think anybody wants him. I mean, like I said, he could be back. He could be back in 2 weeks. I mean, he could be back next week. I mean, nobody knows. You're not going to get anything for him. I mean, you spent a lot for him.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
mean,
send trades for him.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you can hold him on your bench, fine. But if you try to trade him, you're not going to get anything in return worth anything.
Would you offer if you say you didn't have him in a redraft league? Would you offer anything for him?
I mean, I wouldn't want him because, like I said, I don't know if he's going to be back. I don't know when he's going to be back. I mean, it could be 2 weeks, could be 6 weeks.
Dynasty, are you keeping him or trying to see if you can get anything, a bag of beans for him?
In Dynasty.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to keep him in Dynasty because I don't think he's going to be out his whole life. I mean, he'll be back, and I know he hasn't had a very good year. But you're just going to be losing so much on him. Like you paid so much, and this isn't the time. I don't think this is the time to sell him.
I mean, realistically, Calvin Ridley not being there, Russell Gage pooped the bed, so it's basically the Kyle Pitts show. Dude's going to prove me
Everybody
wrong.
bed except Patterson. He's the only one that
Yeah,
didn't.
Patterson and Kyle Pitts. I mean, that's it. There's nothing else on that team. But that's that. I was so wrong. Like I could have swore that dude was going to kill it this year. It just breaks my heart. So we got each of us have just a couple of guys real quickly to run through a couple big takeaways. I'll start with mine. I was excited about him. I drafted him in my dynasty league, and everybody actually laughed at me because, well, number one, they know how much I hate the Jets, but they're like, dude, Michael Carter, he's not going to be any good. And I was like, Michael Carter's going to be pretty good. I like this kid coming out of North Carolina. He was, everybody was all on the Javonte Williams, but I'd say it currently Michael Carter's looking better in the NFL than Javonte Williams. And Michael Carter this week, 15 for 77 and a touchdown and 9 receptions for 95 yards. He scored me a ton of points in my PPR league, just 18 points on receptions and then add a touchdown and 77 more yards. He killed it this week. So Michael Carter, what a week. If for some reason your league doesn't like rookies, all of my leagues has too many dynasty guys for Michael Carter not to be rostered. Get him, trade for him. His value is probably higher now. If you got him, maybe you need some pieces. He's extremely valuable either way this week to pick up or trade away. So Michael Carter had a heck of a week. The Jets won. They're like the worst team that's going to be drafted. I mean, the Jets are the number 3 team in their division, and they're gonna screw themselves out of getting a decent draft pick on a team that needs to rebuild. But kudos, Michael Carter.
Yeah, maybe Zach Wilson. Hopefully, Zach Wilson is paying attention and
Who? Wait, why
realizes
would they?
that
Why are you talking about the backup quarterback in New York?
because he's hurt, he's not the backup.
Oh, he's the
But
backup, totally backup.
we'll get there. Just give me a second.
He's your next guy, but
But
backup quarterback in New York.
Hopefully Zach Wilson is paying attention to what my guy's doing and actually dumping it off to the running back because Zach Wilson doesn't seem to think Michael Carter can catch. But the guy that does think Michael Carter can catch and who I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about three backup quarterbacks that all played really well. And the first one is Mike White, and he just come. I've never even heard of this guy. He,
No way.
evidently, this is the most yards that anybody's passed for in their first game. He had like 405. One of his interceptions was a Michael Carter drop. I think it hit him in the helmet, it bounced up,
Well,
and
right, yeah.
intercepted. But other than that, he looked fantastic. I'm surprised. I mean, what more can you say? Coach already said he's definitely getting a start on Thursday. They could probably go ahead and release Flacco. They ain't even no need for that. Next guy's Cooper Rush, 300 yards, like led the Cowboys to a victory over Minnesota in Minnesota. He had the game-winning touchdown to Amari Cooper. I mean, the receivers played. I mean,
Cooper. Woo.
CD Lamb got
Greater
his.
than CD Lamb.
Cooper got his. So the only one that didn't get anything was Schultz. That hurts a little bit. And then the other one was Trevin Simeon. Came in for Jameis Winston. I don't think he played great, but
But
he played good enough to beat Tampa Bay, right? Some of his passes didn't look good. From what I heard, not Cooper Cup, but Taysom Hill might be back, so he might be taking over that QB there in New Orleans. But I mean, coming in off the bench, beating Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, a great job of these three quarterbacks.
yeah, but Trevor Simeon, greatest game of his life after a bunch of dumpster starts over there. Like, yeah, Mike White. I'm probably one of the 2 guys on earth that had him on their team. I'll talk about it later. I'm going to skip it. I won't say it later, but he's one of my pickups of the week. For me, I picked him up last week because of next week's desperation. Because of the bye week, I have Tom Brady and Tyler Heineke in a 1 quarterback league, and everybody else loves quarterbacks. They're all gone. So I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to start the Jets quarterback. And White is starting this week, whoever that is. And I see Flacco on the waivers. I better get White just in case something happens. And the game starts. Like, realistically, if White's game was based upon that first quarter, I was petrified because he had an interception and some yards. I was like, oh, Jets quarterback, here we go. But dude, that coach, if White does this 1 or 2 more times, Zach Wilson's
So
he
my
might get
question,
Brady,
so this
not
is
to
the
the Brady
question.
extent, but
So this is the question. White comes in, plays really well. Let's say he wins one more game. Wilson comes in, loses, doesn't play well. Fans start booing. That's when you're going to have an issue because
it's game work.
everybody's favorite person on the team is the backup quarterback. But I mean, it's been like this forever.
Well, everybody's favorite person on the team is the guy that scores points. You put up 335 yards, set a record, you're running through versus the guy that should be setting records and he's pooping the bed. It's interesting. But speaking of rookies that weren't stepping up but looked better this week, like I was hoping to get him on the cheap and it wasn't happening. Justin Fields finally got about the stat. Like, he got a very Lamar Jackson type stat line this week: 19 to 27 for $175 and 10 rushes for 103 yards. Starting to look more like Justin Fields that you and I love. Like, he was, other than Trevor, I like Trevor, but Justin Fields was the guy I liked the most coming in. But I looked really foolish until this week, and it was against a decent 49ers defense. They're not the old 49ers defense, but they're still pretty good. So just kudos to Justin Field. He's starting to work his way back in. And I think, I mean, maybe what we're going to see is a very Lamar type line from Justin Fields moving forward, which does not bode well for Allen Robinson, who apparently is dead.
Well, it's only going to happen if Matt Nagy isn't the coach because obviously when Matt Nagy
Good
is the
call.
coach, he doesn't allow Justin Fields to run. 103. This is what we've been waiting for from Justin Fields. Nagy needs to look what happened. let him get back there, improvise a little bit. But he looked good. Didn't throw the picks. Didn't look scared back there. But let the guy run. I mean, that's why you drafted him.
I
So
love your next one. I have him in 2 places, and he is rocking my
yes.
teams.
So my next guy, and he's obviously the number one target now, as long as T.Y. Hilton doesn't come back. I mean, he got hurt again yesterday, so I'm thinking we're done with him. But he had 15 targets yesterday, 10 catches. I mean, double digit targets pretty much every week. Starting to get the touchdowns. That's Michael Pittman at 10 catches for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. There for a while, he only had like 44 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he had that big play down the middle. I mean, it was a good game, but Pittman finally looks like that guy that I drafted him for. That possession type guy, go down the field. But I think he's currently in one of the league that I was looking at, top 10 wide receiver. So finally, Pittman has stepped up and become that guy Carson Wentz likes to throw to. So I'm excited.
I'm very I loved him coming out. I think we talked about him in a lot of the preseason shows, and I have him in a couple places. And of course, I benched him over Jerry Jeudy, which was my really good team there. I put up I think 95 points thanks to Mahomes. No, 106 points in a team that should put about 150, 60 consistently because Robert Woods and Jerry Jeudy were on the bench. We're starting versus Michael Pittman, and I had like a gazillion points on the bench. But
well, Robert Woods had a good game then.
yeah, he did. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rams, this guy helped me come in second place in the Fantasy Couriers Weekly DFS contest. That would be Daryl Henderson. I have him absolutely nowhere. I traded him away this season to clear roster space, but dude killed it this week. Receiving touchdown, rushing touchdown, 90 rushing yards, and no receiving yards. So very San Francisco type number at 3 receiving yards. But Daryl Henderson just crushed it. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year when Cam Akers comes back. But he's looking pretty solid as moving forward, as is like that Rams team. Congratulations on getting Von Miller. I was having there was a bunch of discussions on our thread. I was talking yesterday, like what's going to become of Von Miller? Will he be? I don't know. I saw somebody last night, or I forget who I was talking to, but is it because he's washed up that they got such a good deal in him because he hasn't played a lot, or that if not, man, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, they have the top 2 defensive guys of the last decade for the most part, right?
Then he got what
And
Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. So I mean, yeah, they're set up. I mean, it's gonna be fun to watch. But like I said, people have been added like this before, and it just doesn't turn out. But this team's so good, I don't see how it can go bad adding Von Miller. So yeah, Daryl Henderson's played great. Like you said, we'll have to see what happens when Cam Akers comes back.
Okay, now everybody, here what you've been waiting for all week. SureFireWaste of a touchdown. We have some good ones this week. Let's go to Chicago. We have an 8-yard receiving touchdown. It's Cole Kmet coming out, looking like to be a good tight end. Oh, wait, maybe. No, sorry, it's not him. It looks like Allen Robinson. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. It is the gunslinger, Jesse James, with an 8-yard touchdown. That is a
SureFireWaste of a touchdown. I didn't know that guy still played.
I didn't either. I was like, oh, cool, Cole Kmet. Then we go to Cleveland. Oh, yeah, Nick Chubb back. He's healthy. He is rushing 10-yard touchdown. Nope, it's last week's darling, Dearness Johnson, giving us a
SureFireWaste of a touchdown. And maybe he should be the starter. He looks pretty good.
Maybe DeAndre Swift. Oh, we knew he was going to have a big week. Williams is out. 8-yard touchdown. Oh, wait, is that the rookie? Is that it's Jameer Jefferson, right?
I think so.
I typed Johnson. It's Jameer Jefferson.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is a definite
SureFireWaste of a touchdown. That's probably his only carry of the game, probably.
Yeah, because only him and the next guy are on dynasty rosters. We're in Houston. It looks like Brandon Cooks has a 9-yard touchdown catch. I mean, really, if someone in Houston scores, it's a SureFireWaste of a touchdown. But this was a guy that you snaked me on in our dynasty rookie drafts. It's not him. It is Brevin Jordan with a 9-yard touchdown catch. And that definitely is a
SureFireWaste of a touchdown.
Dynasty owners, keep an eye on that guy. He's a pretty big kid out of Miami. Okay, we're going. Oh, man. Boy, did my boy A.J. Brown have a great week. He's my boy this week. I don't like him still. But there comes a 5-yard touchdown pass. I guess him 2 on the day. Wait, no, that's Nick Westbrook Akina again snaking a touchdown from him. That is a
SureFireWaste of a touchdown.
Well, Keenan Allen scored a touchdown. Mike Williams is nowhere to be found. It's like Keenan Allen's going for a second 24-yard. Oh, wait, nope. That's the rookie Josh Palmer. Definitely a
surefire waste of a touchdown. Even though I am glad to see him get some run in there.
Yeah, that's more than he had in college, right?
Yeah.
Now we're looking at the Washington football team. Terry McLaurin has a that's a terrible week. I guess they forgot who their best player is on their
Yes.
team. So instead, it's a 20-yard touchdown catch to DeAndre Carter. He's their punt returner. That is definitely a
Surefire waste of a touchdown.
Oh, here we go. It's CD Lamb, 73-yard touchdown catch. Oh, wait, no. Backup quarterbacks started backup receivers. That's Cedric Wilson with an amazing touchdown catch. Like that catch was disgusting, but that is still a
So I know this is a surefire waste of a touchdown, but I can't say this about this because I started him in the Bourbon Bowl,
because you have a surefire terrible team
and
and
the
you
only
won.
reason I beat Scott was because of this guy right here. So I cannot bring myself to say that it was a surefire waste of a touchdown.
It's a surefire waste of a touchdown unless you're a rebuilding dynasty owner who has nobody else on your team.
Hey, I'll take
Is that a good asterisk there?
There we go.
Oh, yeah. My boy, Daryl Williams from the Kansas City Chiefs and their terrible, terrible running game gets a three. Wait, who in the world is Derek Gore?
I have no idea who that is.
Because he definitely gave us a.
Surefire waste of a touchdown.
I had to go look it up. I was like, is this Frank Gore's kid? I don't think it is.
Not yet. He'll be there
Because
next
this guy
year.
had 3 years in. So I was like, who in the world is this dude? Oh, it was terrible. So we're running a little long. So real quickly, I already gave my my pickup of the week. That's Matt White. Obviously, you want to pick up AP, and you got 2 pickups. I already picked up the first guy. I love him.
Yeah, the first one's Jamal Agnew. Rose to fame with that long field goal return. But last 3 weeks he's had double digit fantasy points. The only other than James Robinson, the only guy scoring in the Jacksonville
He's Cordero Patterson, right?
offense. Well, not in Jacksonville.
But I mean, he isn't he sort of the Cordero Patterson
Oh yeah,
type
yeah,
player?
kind of.
He reminds me of Percy Harvin.
Yeah, not as good as Cordero Patterson. He's the best player in the league at the moment.
Yeah.
And then,
In 10 years, he'll be really good then.
and then we got Taysom Hill. I mean, anytime a starting quarterback becomes available, that's you got to go after that guy. He's supposed to be back, so we'll see.
Okay, JJ Wang, it's a good week. Everybody, make sure to check your waivers because remember, if on my Instagram, I always say if you're not picking up waivers, you're not trading, you're not really trying, you're not going to get any better. Like I'm right now, I'm frantically looking around. What am I going to do to help my team? Derrick Henry owners, you should be busy this week. Jameis Winston, 2 quarterback owners should be looking around, seeing what you can move around. Don't trade for the sake of trading, but trade and waiver to make your team better. Give us some wisdom and get us out of here.
Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, week 8, don't be afraid to make moves. You need to go out there, be aggressive. If you're in the playoff hunt, don't just stand there and be like, well, I drafted a good team, and I'm just going to stick with what I got. That's not how it works. Go get some depth. You go, find somebody that that might be able to help you. But like, yeah, don't stay. I don't know what the word.
Complacent.
Don't settle on your laurels. Is that
There you go.
that, I
Ooh,
guess?
okay.
But yeah, be aggressive, especially if you're trying to win the championship. It doesn't come around very often. But as always, trust yourself and trust the process.